I work with a lot of women who love fitness, know fitness, use fitness because I've been in fitness first, even before I was deep into nutrition and hormones. And so it's very common for me to work with my clients who are actively working out and not getting results. Unfortunately, I think it's a common story. Hey there, I'm Bria, and welcome to the Period Whisperer podcast. If you're over 35 and ready for real answers about your hormones, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and stay with us. Hey there, sister. Welcome back to the Period Whisperer podcast. How are you feeling in your body today, right now, in this minute? Are you feeling frustrated that it's not responding the way you want it to respond because you're actually putting in the efforts? I want you to know that I think this is going to be a great episode for you if you are someone who is actively working out and exercising and not seeing any changes in your body. This is episode 2 in our What the Hell is Happening to My Body midlife mini series for this month. And I wanted to do this episode, well, really for a couple of reasons. One, it is so common that I have clients and you all reach out to me who are actually working out every day, actually doing the work and not getting the results, not getting any results, sometimes even seeing the scale go in the wrong direction. And I think I really deeply understand that because for me, I am 44, turning 45 this year. And until I was 37, let's say 27 to 37, I was really committed to fitness. It was a huge part of my life, a part of how I manage stress, a part of giving time for myself, a part of feeling like I was doing something right for my body. And I built a business on it. It was really where my start in wellness began with fitness. But when I turned 37, suddenly, and maybe I'll layer this out for you because maybe you can see yourself in some of this. For 10 years, I worked out 6 days a week, every week. Christmas, holidays, vacations, traveling on the road. I would get up and work out like in a hotel gym at the side of a road. I was dedicated and disciplined. When I think back now, I'm like, what was I thinking sometimes? But look, some of us have this passion. And I guess at that time, it was what I was clinging to for myself to feel like I had something for myself. And I was so scared that if I put it down, that things would change for me. So it had become a lifeline for me. But at least it was one I could depend on. At 37, I thought, well, I certainly don't have everything figured out. Being a mom is hard. Being a wife is hard. Being, in this world can be hard sometimes, but at least I know how to get a workout in, how to get it done. And I think so many women connect with that. But for me, what changed around 37 was I was still doing these workouts, and at minimum, they were 30 minutes a day. More often than not, they were 45 to 60 minutes. And although, yes, there would be probably an active recovery day, I say that with air quotes, because there might be one actual yoga day, but then the other one might just be like a low impact, or it might be a more intense Pilates, which is not necessarily a recovery. It's still an active push in the body. I suddenly started to have major issues in my body. Now, I stopped sleeping well. My periods got heavy. My skin got weird. My digestion got wonky. I started to have this twitch in the corner of my eye that would not go away. And if I think back, there's probably a lot of other symptoms I was having. Anxiety was one of them. For the first time in my life, I had anxiety. But the thing I think that pissed me off the most, that I think drives so many of you to this podcast and to hear, was that I gained 15 plus pounds, and most of it looked like it was in my belly, for sure. When I look back, in fact, I have been on social media for decades now. So if you scroll way back on my Instagram and Facebook, you can even see it, because I used to record a lot of my workouts that I was doing. And you can see all of a sudden this change, I think, specifically in my midsection. And it didn't make any sense, with the exception that it frustrated me so much that I would probably cut back my calories in the day, but then feel so exhausted and frustrated that I would end up having probably sugar in the afternoon and more wine at night. So maybe I wasn't in that same calorie deficit, or I wasn't as on top of my nutrition, but I was definitely still putting the work in, and it didn't make sense that I would gain that much weight. My clients come to me a lot. I have so many stories. And even if you come back here on the podcast, you can hear the actual stories from my clients themselves share about how they were working out and not getting results. I work with a lot of women who love fitness, know fitness, use fitness because I've been in fitness first, even before I was deep into nutrition and hormones. And so it's very common for me to work with my clients who are actively working out and not getting results. Unfortunately, I think it's a common story. And I think there's really two important pieces of this puzzle that we're not talking about enough that I'm going to break down for you today. And I really think it's going to make a bit of an aha moment for you to more deeply understand your body and how to start getting results from your workouts again. But first, I want to give you hope. Once I unwound this, understood this, and walked my body out of the mess that I was in, because it wasn't just my hormones at 37. Like, it wasn't just my sex hormones. I think that's a big thing we're fed. We think, oh, it's my hormones, my sex hormones. First of all, I think we can say it's my hormones when we think about all of the hormones. There's adrenal hormones like cortisol and DHEA. There's your blood sugar hormones. We've got your insulin. There's so many hormones that play a role in this. It's not just our sex hormones, which is what we're kind of is shoved down our throat here in perimenopause. But since I unwound that, it has been 5 years, maybe more now. And I have stayed quite comfortably within a 3 to 5 pound range since then, over those 5 years, through the depths of perimenopause. Now that I feel like I'm in the belly at 45, like it's coming for me now. And I have also seen similar results in my clients. I've seen them stabilize their sleep, their energy, and then start to lose weight and put on beautiful muscle. And this all happens. So I want to give you hope. And I want to really encourage you not to accept that this is life. If you are listening right now, if you're thinking, I am so frustrated with how my body feels, I don't even want to get dressed in the morning. I am so frustrated with how little I'm eating, or how many cravings I have, or how exhausted I am, so I can't even feel like I can get my workouts in. I'm so frustrated with these things. Do not accept that this is a stage in your life. But I do need you to accept that this takes some time to unwind. Not forever, not even years, but it does take 4 to 6 months. There is no quick fix because we didn't get here quickly. And because there is a couple of key pieces to this puzzle that you need to understand that I think will help you have a little more patience and grace. And I think if we can step back for a moment, I mean, at almost 45, gosh, time goes so dang fast, I find. So even though I understand you probably want results yesterday, like you want to step on the scale tomorrow after doing something today and see that change, and I appreciate that, that is a poor expectation to have, and it's a losing expectation. We need to recognize that your body is not a vending machine and that it will take time to unwind some of the challenges that are happening. But let's break these challenges down, because I really think this is going to start to help you understand why your workouts aren't working. And when we say not working, I really am going to break that down into fat burning and muscle building, because this is why we're working out, right? If you are actively following a fitness program or going to work out with a fitness trainer, I am confident that one of your goals is fat burning or muscle building. So we think, and we have been trained to think, that fat burning and muscle building are like a very simple recipe, right? We think for fat burning, we say burn more calories than you consume, right? For muscle building, we say put load on the muscle, stress the muscle out, and then feed it, and it will grow, right? If we eat less and move more, we're going to burn fat because that's storage of energy for the body to use. And if we want to put on muscle, then we stress that muscle out, we put load on that muscle, and then we feed it to make sure it can repair and grow. But this is a Like this is beyond simplified when you think about the complexity of your body. So I love metaphors. I want you to actually think of burning fat or building muscle like making a very complex recipe. I'm going to use a curry. First of all, I am not a very good chef. I eat very simply, but I really love a good curry. Any kind of curry. I love a good Thai curry. I love a good Indian curry. I probably aren't even doing them justice, but I notice, like whether you like curry or not, you can pick another recipe. You know the difference between a really good curry and a really crappy one. You know the difference. When you put it in your mouth and that flavor just explodes, and whatever, maybe it's pizza for you. It doesn't really matter. Any really good recipe has finesse to it, has a lot of elements to it. So there is a massive difference in the taste of any great recipe, but especially a curry, I find, even though the general ingredients are the same. So if we think of this fat burner muscle building recipe in the same way we think of like a curry, what are some of the core components? Okay, in a Thai curry, we're going to need, lemongrass, and we're going to need coconut milk, and we're probably going to need some vegetables, and there's certain spices that are used, kaffir lime. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm doing this completely injustice. Again, caveat, I'm not a chef, but I do really like to eat and know the difference in good food, and I know you do too. So it can seem in a really great recipe that the ingredients are the same, but you and I both know that there is a massive difference in what those ingredients can turn into. And what breaks that down? What leads up to that? There's the quality of the ingredients, right? The quality of the actual ingredients going in. And in our body, in the fat burning or muscle building recipe, I want you to think about that like, okay, what are the ingredients? So certainly when we think of the actual food, there's the quality of the food we put into our body. There's our gut's ability to break that down and actually get that nutrients into the rest of the body. There's the body's ability to use those nutrients to do the things. That's all the quality of the ingredients. And yeah, in your 20s and early 30s, even not so great food, we were able to extract the nutrients from that a lot faster because you had sharper tools. In an amazing flavor developed recipe like curry, there's the quality of the utensils, right? And in the recipe of our fat burning, in the recipe of our muscle building, that's, the conversion of our thyroid hormone, the liver's ability to convert things, the insulin sensitivity of our body, like our body's ability to utilize these ingredients, not just have the ingredients come in and accept them, but then actually utilize those ingredients in the way that they need to be used. And yes, in perimenopause, some of that requires the hormones that we are starting to lose. But if you look around you, even outside of Hollywood, you look into different cultures of this world and you see women postmenopausal, not on hormones, feeling fine. And by fine, I mean fine, like not feeling fine, feeling really, really good in their body. In a well-developed, amazing, like I want to go back to that restaurant forever recipe, there's the time and the skill of the chef, which also includes the state and the environment that the chef is in. Right? Gun to your head, at someone telling you to make a curry, it's probably not going to taste as great as if you have time, if you have patience, if you have capacity, right? If you have done this so many times before and you know the little tweaks that you need to do. And I think the same goes to our ability of presence as a woman in midlife to pay attention in your workouts. Are you listening to your body? Are you just pushing through because you told yourself you would do it and that's just going to give you the dopamine hit that you want to feel better, even though it's going to tank you later in the day? Are you holding in your core? Have you worked on your pelvic floor? Have you worked on these tiny little muscles? Have you done the expansion and mobility work in order for you to get the results that you want to get? There's so much variability. I hope you're following this example, but when you really think about it, when you think about the most amazing food dish you have ever had, which might seem simple sometimes, but really so much thought, so much care, so much of the right ingredients, the way it was basted, the way it was cooked, how it was attended to, all of that comes into play to making it amazing. And even though we watch on Top Chef that those chefs somehow manage to get through the pressure, some of them who are some of the best Michelin star chefs in the world do not, because cooking under pressure is very, very hard. Making any recipe under pressure is not good because the central nervous system is freaking out. So when you're in your 20s and 30s and you're doing these workouts, your body has the ability to extract more and have better quality ingredients, even without you shopping for them. Your body has sharper tools in order to be able to cut the things, really good brand new pans that you're using so nothing actually burns. Like, it's got the best of the best in the best condition it can have at that time. You know, in your 20s and 30s, you might feel stressed, and I never want to diminish other people's experiences in life. But at 44, when I think back to what I was handling in my life in my 20s, so much less than what I'm handling now. And you know it to be true. Not to mention, you add perimenopause onto that, which is an energy demand, and automatically the playing fields are not the same because your body's going through a transition. It's the similar transition to what's happening in puberty. It's a similar transition to what's happening when we're pregnant. And everybody seems to recognize that when you are going through puberty and you are going through pregnancy, that you need more sleep, that you need really good quality food, that you got to take your supplements. We come to perimenopause and it's like, whoa, sorry for your shit show, just accept it. So all that to say, the first piece of the puzzle is really recognizing that there are so many variables that go into the recipe of fat burning and muscle building when your workouts are working versus when your workouts are not. So we always have to walk that back and look at how are my tools being sharpened? How are the quality of my ingredients? How is my body's ability to extract the quality of those ingredients? How is my mental capacity and the state of my being and the environment that I'm in? How is that supporting this recipe? Or is it going to make it a total flop? Because we know that the pressures of things impact us. We see it. We see it in the recipe on Top Chef. And we hear it everywhere, right? We know the central nervous system impacts things. So that's puzzle piece number one, really understanding that the recipe is not as simple as we have been force-fed, and that in order for our workouts to work for us, a lot more has to go into this. And I'm going to give you some real tips, but first I want to talk about puzzle piece number two, that so many women are not grasping, accepting, honoring, and that not many people are talking about. And yet this has become so clear to me, and I still have to remind myself of it because culture lies to us and tells us this is not true. Listen, puzzle number two is a bit of a mindset shift. I need you to recognize that excessive fat storage on a body, when you truly are following the directions for the fat loss recipe or the muscle building recipe, is a very clear sign of a body that's scared, that's in distress. More specifically, a body that is trying to survive. It is scared because it does not know if it will have or how long it will have the energy supply it needs in order to survive. That is your body's goal. Your beautiful body is a goddamn cheetah that is designed to keep you alive. And she doesn't care about what workout you're doing or what you're eating or how late you stayed up scrolling. All she cares about is the survival of you. And if the ingredients coming into the body, if the stress sucking the energy out of the body, if the gut not breaking things down and bringing the nutrients into the body, if all of these things, if your life and your body's experience is so stressed out that it doesn't know where that energy is going to come from, it's going to do a freaking brilliant thing. It's going to start conserving resources, period. So short of completely starving yourself for weeks and weeks and weeks, which is not what we are doing here, right? That is not okay. It is not functional, not to mention any high functioning woman listening to this podcast right now knows they do not have the capacity for that. You will break down. You cannot starve yourself and still do all the 14,000 things that you're doing. You can't do it. And it's horrible for your body anyway. And you're too good for that crap. It will start to hold on and conserve to as much energy as it can. So what does that look like? That looks like you're still pushing your body, stressing it out, putting demands, doing the 100,000 things you ask of it every single day. Because let's be honest, you are asking Olympic levels of output of your body every day. And it will make you feel like junk while you're doing it because it has to slow down to conserve. So suddenly your whole metabolism slows down. There goes your energy. It's going to shut down non-essential personnel. So it's going to say, oh, well, we don't need the reproductive hormones. They're not necessary for survival. So yeah, okay, you're not quite near menopause yet at 48, 49, 50, but we're just going to shut those down anyway. They're not necessary. So they're going to totally not maybe shut down your ovaries, but just shut down your hormones, which are the signalers. So all of a sudden, because we don't need that energy. So now you think you're in perimenopause, you think your hormones are all whack and bajiggity, but that's not what's happening. You have a body that is saying, hey, I'm trying to survive over here. I'm going to conserve this energy for other areas. And the trouble, and here is the mindset shift, sister. The trouble is when we are active fitness people and not paying attention and understanding this piece of the puzzle, what's really going on is our body feels like it's on a deserted island in a really scary place where it has no idea if something's going to come and eat you at night, has no idea if it's going to get any food or water to last a day, a week, a month, whatever. And you and I, sister, are thinking, oh, maybe the best thing I should do right now is go for a run on the beach. How does that make any sense? I understand it because I was it. I used to do that all the time, as I shared at the beginning of this episode. But when your body is trying to survive, if you are out there doing your workouts and your body is not changing and you're just feeling more exhausted and feeling like your muscle is disappearing and feeling like your leggings are getting tighter every single day, that is your body saying, Hala, I do not have what I need to survive, so I'm going to survive. I'm going to conserve to survive. And the worst thing you can do is then go spend energy you don't have by going for a run on the beach. Do you see what I mean here? So it's very, very important that you start to recognize you have to address why your body is scared. So your workouts are not working because one, your body is in conservation mode and it's trying to tell you, red alert, something's not working. So you need to pay attention. And number two, the other reason your workouts aren't working is because you do not have all of the ingredients and the tools and the environment to make the most amazing recipe that you want to make. I think when we step back and start to understand this, you might feel a little frustrated by this, but I actually find it super empowering. Perimenopause is the gift you did not ask for, but that you need. It is the universe's way of coming and shaking you by the shoulders and being like, sister, it is time to listen to what your body is saying so we can address these things because you have decades left to feel amazing and not be thinking about whether you fit into your clothes or you're a weight on the scale. We don't want that. That's a big waste of time. We want the body to settle into the place that it deserves to be. And we want to have all of this extra energy to live our lives, to fulfill ourselves, right? To feel the best that we can feel and give back in the way we want to give back, whatever that is for you. So two huge pieces. And now you're probably saying, fine, Brea, I accept it. I hope you are. And if you're mad at me about this episode, you can tell me. I was mad for a while. And then I was like, no way. This is the most important relationship I have is with my body. I can't have any other relationship if I don't have a good relationship with my body. So get in sync with her by understanding these two pieces. Stop asking her to make a curry with ingredients that don't make curry or junky ingredients. I don't want to eat a crappy curry and neither do you. Okay, so what do we do about it, right? What do we do about it? Here's some 5 steps for you. All right. So the first step, of course, is always going to be address your foundations. Okay. I'm trying to make this work in the metaphor here for you, but in any recipe, there are foundational ingredients, things that it is not that recipe without those ingredients, right? Like, what is a Thai curry without coconut milk? What is a chicken curry without chicken, right? There are foundational pieces to the recipe. So we have to, at the very least, make sure first we have these foundations. What are those foundations? Number one, we need to hold space for our sleep. You need to set your sleep up. I get it. I have so many clients that struggle with sleep, and it's one of these things that's like squeezing sand or water in your hands. The more you try to control it, the more it can just slip away. And it's a tricky time in perimenopause. But what you get to control is the foundational time slot that you create for sleep most nights. Doesn't have to be perfect. So that looks like winding down a good hour before it's bedtime, right? No scary shows, no intense conversations, no bright lights all the time, no doom scrolling on our phone, winding down and starting to tell our body, hey, now it's safe. Being in that bed in a cool, dark, appropriate room for 8 hours at least. And then when you rise, getting some sunlight in those eyes. Those are just foundational pieces. Hold the space for your sleep. Right? We know there are things we should do and we shouldn't do. So do the thing and do it long enough to know whether it actually works or not. And I'm talking 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, in order to determine whether it actually works or not for you. Another foundation is your nutrition. Okay. The body, when she is stressed, she's wondering, where the hell's my energy coming from? And where the hell does your energy come from? It comes from sleep. Okay. So we've taken care of sleep. That's our foundation. And it comes from our nutrition. That means when we wake up in the morning, within 2 hours of waking, we need to have a proper breaking of the fast. We need to have a proper breakfast. And yes, there needs to be all the macros at the party. You need the protein, you need the fatty fat, and you need the carbohydrates. We need all the things at the party and the breakfast because we haven't had any energy supply in like 14 hours since we went to bed and before that. So we need to have enough food in that meal to keep us full and satisfied for 4 to 5 hours. How much is that? Only you know that, because you work and move and exercise and have a body composition that's different than anyone else's. So you have to pay attention. Have your food, eat the food. If it's not enough to last you 4 to 5 hours, you probably need more food. Pretty simple. Fats, protein, carbs. Do it again at lunch. Do it again at dinner. Sometimes we need a snack, and that's okay too. Try not to overthink it. But this is a foundational piece. Again, it's like coconut milk in the coconut curry. You need to have consistency in this nutrition and enough food to keep you full and satisfied for 4 to 5 hours. Along with that, we're going to add in hydration. I'm just going to lump it into that nutrition piece. You got to be hydrating and taking your minerals, things like that. Another key foundation is functional movement. Functional movement before fitness, okay? Before you are committing an hour or 45 minutes to a workout and resistance training, are you even moving your body in a day? Are you functionally moving it so it can handle that kind of load and demand? We need to walk 7,000 to 10,000 steps each day. So if you're someone like me that sits in front of a computer a lot all day, I have to consciously get up and move. I have to say, okay, I'm going to walk in the morning when I first wake up. I'm going to maybe move around a little bit after my lunch, and I'm going to have a nice walk after dinner tonight. You've got to move your body. And along with that is we need to move it in all planes of motion. Call it yoga, call it mobility work, call it stretching. It really doesn't matter. You need to open the space of your body, rotate the body, because we do a lot of the same thing all day long. This is functional movement. You have to make this happen every single day. Most days was good enough. Sometimes I don't do anything on the weekend. Most days in your week. That's a foundation. And finally, foundation number 4, the foundational ingredient for your recipe of fat burning or muscle building is always going to be stress release in whatever capacity that is for you. Maybe you like to meditate. Maybe you like to breathe calmly and sit in silence. Or maybe that just feels very overwhelming for you and you need a good scream in your car or a good sing or dance to your favorite song. Really doesn't matter. You need to have some fun or you need to release the stress. One of those things has to happen most days. Those are the key ingredients, the foundational ingredients for the recipe of your body to burn fat and build muscle and get results out of its workouts. They have to happen most days. That's just foundational piece of health. So wrap your mind around those things. Have a really good eye to eye in the mirror. Am I really doing these things? And if you want some advice on it, you can always reach out. Step number 2 is looking at data. If you really are doing those things and your workouts are not working, it's telling us there's something missing in the sharpening of your tools, in the tools inside of your body, right? The conversion of hormones, the absorption of the gut, the balance of the hormones, all of these pieces of the puzzle that come into play, the insulin sensitivity. We need to look more deeply. You can guess, you can buy whatever supplement you want, anywhere you want. You're just guessing until we actually get the data. That is why I love to run functional lab works. I have talked about them all the time. This is a standard staple for how I help my clients in my group coaching or my private coaching. We're going to do a GI map. We're going to do a Dutch. Hopefully, we're either going to do an HTMA or we're going to run some good blood chemistry to really see how are the tools. Are they sharp? And who needs sharpening, right? We don't want to sharpen a tool that's already sharpened. We're going to burn through it a lot more quickly, right? We need to look at that data. That's where lab work is one of the fastest ways for you to get there. It gives us answers and it gives us a place to start and a strategy. Number 3, we need to adjust for the season that you're in, much like adjusting for altitude. So I remember always making like Duncan Hines or Betty Crocker box cakes. And I grew up in Canada, in the flat part of Canada. I grew up in Ontario. And it gives you a different temperature to bake your cake based on the altitude of where you live. You're in perimenopause. Your hormones are bajiggity. We need to adjust our next steps for the altitude, for the chapter that we are in, like Betty Crocker and Duncan Hines told us to on the back of a cake. We're in a different season now. We got to do things differently. Just like when you're pregnant, we know there's things we have to do differently when we're pregnant. Well, now we're in perimenopause, got to do things a little differently, got to adjust for the altitude. So what does that look like? In fitness, that looks like changing up your long level 2 cardio for sprint interval training. That looks like doing resistance training instead of a lot of endurance, more aerobic stuff, like actual hard lifting heavy weights, putting the load on the body, resistance training a few times a week. And that looks like recovery days, recovery, and mobility. This needs to be a core foundational part of adjusting your recipe because we're in a different altitude. We're in a different chapter. So we need to do things a little differently. I learned a lot of this stuff from Dr. Stacy Sims and from my own experience and exercise physiology education, but you can Google this very easily, or you can reach out. I have done other podcast episodes on this, but remember, the most important thing you need to understand is that we need to adjust. And finally, once we've done the foundations, once we've got the data and sharpened those tools, once we have adjusted for the fact that we are in perimenopause, which I guess I should also say, part of altitude adjustment is not just changing your workouts. It's maybe changing how much you get to sleep. It's maybe changing a bit of your nutrition composition. And that is where a coach or a guide can be most helpful with that. But finally, supplements and peptides, as I've talked about on the podcast, can be really, really helpful. If one of the reasons the data comes back that your workouts aren't working or to help you burn fat is because you are insulin resistant, that is where a microdose of GLP peptides can be so powerful for you. If you are finding that you just don't have the energy and maybe we have some sluggish detox up, this is where something like an NAD plus coenzyme peptide can be so helpful for you. If you really are hitting the gym and you want to push it and get those gains and really support those muscles, that's where some amazing growth hormone releasing peptides can be helpful for you. But we don't want to willy-nilly that. It is very, very important that we follow these steps, that we do the foundations, that we look at the data, that we adjust for the season that we are in. And then the peptides become the icing on the cake, right? The cherry on the top. The thing where you're like, gosh, I wish I'd done this sooner. That kind of thing. All right, sister, I hope this explained to you and gave you some perspective and some steps to take to better understanding what the hell is happening in your body and why your workouts aren't working. Because as someone who loves fitness, I actually work out less now than I ever did before. And my body feels better and stronger and leaner and more limber than it did when I remember in my early 30s walking upstairs and creaking and cracking in my body. You can feel the best that you can, but there is a process. So quiet the noise around you, save this podcast episode, share it with a friend if you need to, re-listen to it to remind yourself of those two missing puzzle pieces. And let's roll up our sleeves and make the best recipe that we can for the health of our body. You know where to find me. Come hang out on Instagram, swipe up, book a call so I can help you with that data. I can help you with that guide and make sure that you're following through on making the best recipe that you ever want to make. And most importantly, use this episode to go out and be more in your life and not just less on a scale, because you have magic in you and it's just waiting to be unlocked. We'll catch you in the next episode. If you're 35 plus and ready to stop guessing, start understanding your hormones, and feel your absolute best, hit subscribe. That's what we do here.